That's what I do when I'm in the Guitar Center. Somebody starts playing really loud and I can't think, and I was just looking at it. If you want to know what that is, it's just um, based on Led Zeppelin song, I think Over the Hill and Far Away, but I'm just playing a scale is all I'm really doing is believe it or not, I'm playing the D Dorian scale. I think Over the Hills and Far Away is written in drop D, and that's why it sounds like that. That's why I put it in the other video because it sounds like it. Actually, I wasn't really playing Led Zeppelin when I made that up. I would just probably had Led Zeppelin in the back of my head, and I was just playing the scales, and that's why if I want to add anything to it, I do look up Led Zeppelin and I throw stuff on top of it that's Led Zeppelin, but that does sound like Led Zeppelin. But it was just me playing. Originally, I was doing stuff like. I was doing stuff like Traffic. And I got fed up with something, and I just spontaneously did that as an outburst. And in case you hear me playing that sometimes, I don't even know I'm playing it. I mean, I know I'm playing it, but I'm not trying to play Led Zeppelin when I play it, even though it is part of a Led Zeppelin song, I guess, in the back of my head, but I didn't read the music for it. I just played it. So, you see, the problem is people who memorize um, note for note, for some reason I don't like playing that way, really. I mean, it's okay to learn the songs and to play the songs and stuff, but when the songs start to happen and elaborate, how would you feel if you're on stage and somebody is telling you exactly when to say which words? I never really like playing that way, so I always tell people I just play scales. And I know if you write your own music, you're going to end up playing the same thing every time. But if you're playing someone else's stuff, you're not inside their mind, so you don't know the reason why they wrote what they did or what they're playing, and you have to be able to elaborate stuff yourself. And so I'm not showing you any songs right now because I was just breaking that down without actually. I'm not going to show you how to do that step by step because when you play in a scale, look, this is an A pentatonic scale. And whenever you see a blues teaching on whatever YouTube, they're trying to tell you can play whatever you want within those just scale of 5 notes is what they're trying to say to you. But if you want to play a certain song that you're practicing off a YouTube video, the song is peeled off sometimes of that specific scale. And within that realm, the person who wrote the song was using, but because when somebody who writes songs becomes more like seasoned or professional, they don't just use like an A pentatonic scale, for example. They add things to it. So they add notes, and then it would become a blues scale. So a blues scale would be adding in to the A pentatonic scale. If you're adding in a D sharp, and the way they play scales, if you're playing in the key of A, there's certain notes that they keep hitting on when they do a lead. Like, for example, they would keep hitting the A and the D sharp. And then you have to see where the other D sharp is, because that's the low D sharp. And then this is D, E, F, G, A, and that's here too then. So G, A, B, C. This is, let me make sure before I say it out loud. A, B, C, D. This is a D sharp. So that's in the key of the A blues scale. So when they write a song, they can be going note for note, which is something that's hard to play if you're thinking of each note. At least for me, I mean, I can't think of each letter in every word that I say. If I'm talking to someone, I can't think of how to spell each word while I'm talking to them. And that's why I play in patterns, or with a picture of the scale in my head. It's another word for saying pattern. Scales take on shapes. So the reason I play in shapes is because I like to, and that's the way I play. But there's a lot of professional players who don't do that because it gives them more freedom to do whatever they want. And people who go to college are trained not to play so much in shapes as to know each individual note, or you're in the key of A, and then you can play A, you can play C, and I can't think that way. So people who put other people down don't understand. I can't think that way, and a lot of guitarists can't think that way. And not all guitarists, when they first started to play, not all of them knew what they were, like the theory of music. They were just very talented, and a lot of the musicians who were first starting to play in the 1960s, I guess, and some of them didn't have training. Some of them did have training, and not all of them did. I think, don't quote me on this, I think Eric Clapton was just very good, and I think later on he went to college to learn how to do theory, and I think that, I don't know, he was just very talented. A lot of musicians, even Black Sabbath, a lot of musicians, when they make money, they can go to school later and learn theory. A lot of people who play guitar that became famous didn't necessarily start out with theory, but eventually when people keep nagging on a good musician, when they become famous, I'm sure they end up learning it because they have money to go to school. Um, like the Doors guitarist, I think he was into flamenco, which is really cool, and he was a flamenco player. But then he was in a rock band, so he just made that into rock music. And I think Black Sabbath used to was like the original metal, where you're playing two strings instead of the whole note, the whole note meaning the whole chord. See, that's two strings. That's one note at a time, and with the chord, when you play on a electric guitar, that sounds very. You, when you play metal, you can't play more than like two chords because it's very. This is the way it sounds. And when you're playing on an electric guitar, when you're playing heavy metal, one of the reasons you're only playing two chords is because of the distortion and the way that if you're a heavy metal guitarist, and I practice, I used to be like a heavy metal guitarist more so. The way you play and the have the amp set and stuff, and then the way you're tweaking the strings. You're just playing that because the way you're holding the strings and you're muting stuff. And I don't know if you know, if you don't know how to play when you're playing metal, you're doing a lot of muting. So, anyway, that's it.